welcome to another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report alongside my partners Quad and Ryan. I am your host J-Man. This edition of the IWR, we're going to do our Ring of Honor Best in the World 2011 review, just getting off the air on Internet Pay-Per-View. Yet another solid performance from Ring of Honor here. First matchup, we had Colt Cabana versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, it's pretty much like I said in the preview. Ciampa getting over on Colt Cabana. Just a fun match. Colt Cabana always just doing fun stuff here and there. Getting the crowd into it. Ciampa getting the win with the powerbomb knees thing he does. Cabana's a bigger guy, so it kind of looked kind of weird. But other than that, okay match, fun for a start, but nothing great. So.
Yeah. Next matchup, we had the returning Jay Lethal versus Mike Bennett. A lot of love shown to Jay Lethal, making his return to Ring of Honor, the former company he was in. Now, really going to hopefully get re-immersed into Ring of Honor here. But at the end of this matchup, showing his homage to Macho Man Randy Savage with the elbow drop off the top and getting the win there on Mike Bennett. Really just not really anything special here, but hopefully something where Jay Lethal could get back into Ring of Honor and hopefully get on a roll here into the company that he's back in now. Next matchup, we have the no-holds-barred Barrio street fight between Homicide and Rhino.
With these two guys, this match is going to be extreme hardcore match.
Yeah.
With Rhino being a former EC Dub wrestler, now as the bodyguard of the embassy.
Yeah.
And then Homicide being the crazy feller he is. Homicide won on a roll-up and a
hardcore match, yeah.
Hardcore match. Okay, wait for it. Okay, that's what I thought. And then after the match, Rhino gored Homicide. Surprising enough.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Through a table, like I said.
Atlanta.
Really?
That is spiffy news to all of us. We were not expecting that.
Should have speared him into a crowd of 8 people. I've never seen that.
It was an okay match.
Yeah, all right.
But Homicide getting a win in the street fight there. Moving on to the next matchup, we had Steve Corino versus Michael Elgin. A lot of anticipation of this matchup with a possible Kevin Steen return. With all the promos being cut by Jimmy Jacobs and Steve Corino going in this match, saying how Steve Corino, Jimmy Jacobs, and Kevin Steen all deserve these second chances in Ring of Honor. And there was a lot of anticipation possibly coming in here. We have Steve Corino announced at the beginning of the match, making his return to Ring of Honor. Kevin Steen, we see him in the crowd, comes up, tries to get into the ring, but gets held off by security and shaking hands with Jim Cornette and saying, this could be possibly his, bringing back into Ring of Honor and a new relationship with Ring of Honor. After that, he kind of left off there, and we got into the match here with Corino and Elgin. Nothing really special here. Elgin getting the win with just a bunch of power, really, a power bomb and getting a pin there. After the match, we had a House of Truth beatdown with Corino, and we were thinking, okay, maybe is Steen going to come back out? Jimmy Jacobs trying to come in, but he got beat down also. But we had Kevin Steen come out, save him in the match there, and Corino saying, "Let Kevin Steen talk. Let him tell you what it's all about to be back in the Ring of Honor." And he gets on the mic, and we hear all this stuff. Corino was saying how all this lead up to it of how I'm an evil man. My name is Steve Corino. Well, yeah. Kevin Steen gets on the mic and says, "My name's Kevin Steen." And fuck Ring of Honor. And turns on Steve Corino, and Jimmy Jacobs gives Steve Corino the package pile driver in an amazing segment here with Ring of Honor. Possible return here with Kevin Steen coming in here. Should be interesting to see what happens to him.
And then whenever he was on his way out, he gave him all the middle finger. And it really pretty much just showed how good of a heel Kevin Steen can be.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you this is probably one of, like we were talking about earlier, one of the best heels in wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is good stuff, man. This was just, so much fun. He just does a great job. Just making you just love him. You like the stuff he does. It's just so great, and you're just like, oh man, that's so good. And he just rips his suit off. He had on and had a red shirt on, just a Kevin Steen shirt.
It
was. We couldn't tell what it was, but it's probably a Kevin Steen shirt or something. And they take him out, and he's flipping everybody off, and they're carrying him out. And he's like, he's crowd surfing with a bunch of security guards, and he's like, fuck Ring of Honor, and it was just a great segment. No one was expecting that, and they thought he was just going to come back, be a face. The moment for the crowd was they were marking out so hard for him being back, and then when he turned, it just got even louder.
Yeah, because that promo he cut at the beginning was just so cheesy. It was so, I'm back, it's going to be great, I want my second chance. And once he said that line that we, heard Corino say, we knew, like, oh crap, this is going to get amazing right here. And when he just flipped that switch, his timing is just amazing. Guys like, he really reminds me of a guy like CM Punk, that like that heel, just that aspect that he comes in and just so real feeling, just the hatred that he can bring from people is just amazing. But Steve Corino getting lost here, but in a really bigger thing is the Kevin Steen return to Ring of Honor.
It was a great way to end the intermission too, because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?"
You can only imagine what's going on in New York talking about it.
Who knows what was going to come in the second half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we did have after the intermission, we had the Ring of Honor Television Title line when champion, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, went up against El Generico.
Olay! This was a good match here. Just a really solid match. These guys can have good matches against each other. To me, the weird part of this was I felt like Christopher Daniels kind of was being rebellious. In this, it kind of seemed like he was
a lot of character.
He was using a lot of character. He was doing like thrusts, and he was just doing weird things, and he was doing his own chants.
Had some shitty pants on.
Yeah, had some weird bell bottom looking pants on. But it was weird. It was almost like you didn't know, but when you're watching, it almost felt like he might have been losing the title, and he felt like maybe he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He kind of was acting out. I don't know that for sure. It might have been just been the character or what he was playing, trying to play the heel. But Generico's already over as a face. But Generico ends up getting the win on this. Winning the TV title. Great. To put the title on Generico going into TV. Such a popular guy. One of the best wrestlers in the world in my opinion right now too. Yeah. Also, and just one of those guys that everybody loves, and he deserved this title win after so many years being in the company. So just a good match. Not super great, but it was just a good middle of the show card.
Really brought it up to what not really too great of matches going in before intermission, but really showing what we had ahead for the matches after intermission, which were outstanding. Which the next matchup, we had the 4-way elimination match for the Ring of Honor Tag Titles, really focusing all of their amazing tag teams in this matchup. We had Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team versus the Kings of Wrestling versus the Briscoe Brothers versus the All Night Express here. Man, it was just a long match. It's about a 40-minute match here. Had a first elimination in like 25 minutes in, with the Briscoes getting eliminated, and then finally we had the All Night Express eliminated, and coming down to the Kings of Wrestling and Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team, and the Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team end up retaining in this matchup. At the beginning of it seemed really weird. It seemed really kind of slow-paced, and it just seemed like everything was in slow motion. It seemed like a lot of the guys weren't really moving too well. A lot of them really didn't have that, just seemed like they were getting to going with the moves that they were doing really was kind of a little off there. But they finally get into it, and the last 20 minutes of this match were really good. And Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team getting the win there, and a lot of different little dichotomies of all the tag teams involved here. With them all getting involved, with the Briscoes and All Night, this feud they've been having, the Kings getting in there with Wrestling's Greatest Tag Teams, bringing back what they did back in late 2010. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with this tag division coming into the future. I know they have a tag tournament going on soon to decide the number one contender. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team still the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Which led us to the Ring of Honor World Title match. In our main event, we had the American Wolves colliding with champion Eddie Edwards versus Davey Richards. And in our first unanimous 5-star match, we have Davey Richards, your new Ring of Honor World Champion, in an outstanding competition.
I was going to let you talk first, but this was great. This was awesome.
Yeah.
This was... You go ahead.
Okay. People say pictures are worth 1,000 words, and I literally think this match is worth 2,000 words. Literally, just the pace and what they were doing to each other, and how it was just the storyline of these two former tag teams. They've grown together. They became tag champs, and they started separating, and this match. If you didn't see this match, you missed out. Like we've said before, Ring of Honor. Like I said in the preview, you go watch it back. I said this is gonna be the match you want to see.
Yeah.
This is what ROH is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The other matches were great. The matches showed what the mid card is and what other divisions they have in there.
Tag
divisions, and then the other feuds they have going. But this is a match you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I was on the edge of the couch watching this.
Yeah.
It was literally a slobber knocker.
Yeah, this was wow. This is one of those things. It's me and him we were debating over because we were like so it was one of those speechless things he was going to talk about it first. It's just you're thinking Tyler Davey from Death Force Honor. That's how good this was. Just up there. Well deserved for Davey Richards. One of the best to me, one of the best performances of his career. He's had a lot of great matches, and this really stands out to me. And they just did a lot of just amazing things in this, and just crowd was into it. Everything about this was great. Just it's going to be very hard to beat to me anything anywhere the rest of this year, because this was just an outstanding one of those things where if you missed it and you weren't watching it live, you missed out hardcore.
That atmosphere that you really get in it. The storytelling in this match is just outstanding stuff. Where it was going to Eddie, telling Davey to do stuff to him. He was telling him to let's do this, Davey. We're not going to hold back against each other. We're the American Wolves. We're not going to, be resentful of what we do to each other in this epic match. Ending with this, Eddie sitting on the ground and Davey telling him, Eddie, you're still my brother, runs off and in a brutal, stiff kick right to the face gets the 1-2-3 in this win. And, just when you got the athleticism, the competition they had, the wrestling, the mat ability, the technicality of it, the storytelling, just everything you get there, it was flawless. It was just an outstanding matchup. And, something that exceeded our expectations of what we could have expected from these guys, and just something that was a sight to see and really one of Ring of Honor's best matches that we've ever seen, and a great competition here. And Davey Richards, your new Ring of Honor World Champion.
And just put Davey's career in the complete. After the match, you could really tell it actually physically hit him.
It was raw. You could see the emotion.
You could tell he was crying. You could tell he said, looked at the sky and said, hey Grandpa, I did it. Yeah. He talked to Eddie. He talked to all of his friends, everybody there. It was literally one of those matches.
It was real.
It was real. That's Davey Richards. He is a real SOB. He's not going to be behind his character. Davey Richards is his character.
Yes.
He doesn't have to change anything. And like we were watching it, and I looked at Justin, and I go, this is literally giving me the chills right now.
Yeah.
Because this is the first 5-star match I've seen live. And it, like I said earlier in the show, if you missed it, you're out of luck.
But just great performances from Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, and just an outstanding matchup here. And Davey Richards, your new Ring of Honor World Champion. This will now wrap up our Ring of Honor Best in the World 2011 review. For my partners, Quad and Ryan, I am your host, J-Man. Thank you for watching another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report, your source for fresh wrestling news, information, and opinions, instantly.
This is a battleground!